Hello and happy Saturday to everybody. Welcome to Book Chat. I'm your host, author Vivian E. Moore. I am so happy to be speaking with you today, as I am every Saturday. I see it as a blessing to be able to do this show each week and to learn something new and to then share that information with you. That is the purpose of me doing this show each week. I just want to say that it's been a beautiful day. This is the first Saturday in a long time that I've been at home, that I didn't have something to do, that I was able to relax. And, that's why we have weekends, to be able to do that. So this was my first one in a long time. So I'm really happy and really relaxed today to be able to do the show with a clear thought of mind and just with a heart that is filled with expression today. So before we get started with today's show, of course, I just want to go through the format of giving you information, which are the URLs for the show. The first one, of course, is Spreaker. And that one is https://www.spreaker.com/user/author Vivian E. Moore. My Facebook page, I would really love for you to check that out, which I have several out there. And if you go to one, it will direct you to all the other ones. But this one in particular is http://facebook.com/Vivian E. Moore author. And of course, my Twitter handle is God's Property 46. My lovely Instagram page is https://Instagram.com/God's Property 51. And I would love for you to check out my web page. So I'm going to give you that address, which it is https://VivianMoore.wixsite, that's WIXSITE.com/author Vivian Moore. And if you want to look at my Pinterest page, which I do have one dedicated to just writing, and that one is https://www.pinterest.com/Vivian Moore48. And if you want to send me messages or shoot me an email or comment on my email, that is authorvivianemore@gmail.com. All right, so now that we've gotten all of that stuff out of the way, let's move on to today's show. All right, the title of today's show is Can We Talk? And the topic is defining first, second, third voice when writing. All right, so what can be more confusing than confusion in a story? We try to follow but can't determine who's saying what. I'm not going to give you an English or classroom lecture on pronouns, verbs, and adjectives. My goal today is to share some practical tips to help you stave off the confusion. Generally, in a story, you either have characters speaking in first, second, or third voice. Each point of view has a specific purpose, which allows us to follow the directions of the story. Example number 1, I or we, or as it's commonly referred to as first person POV, mostly because I or we can be used as the subject of any sentence. Widely used for autobiographical writing such as essays and so forth. I've read many books lately that are written in this voice or this form. I'll use Donna Gabaldon as an example because she's one of my favorite authors, and she is known for writing in this format. Now, I have read all 8 of her books, and I'll be so glad when number 9 comes out. And I know you're tired of hearing me saying this, but I am so just excited, and I just cannot wait to find out what happens in book 9, because I won't give anything away. You'll just have to read the books for yourself, read the series for yourself. But I mean, Diana Gabaldon is such a compelling writer. She is such a thorough writer, and she writes in that first voice. The main character, Claire, is doing the narration of the story, and it sort of pulls you in, more deeply. Because of the fact that she's telling you the story. She's given an autobiographical of what has happened, what happened to her, and how she ended up in the 18th century. But like I said, if you love history, then this is the series for you to read, because it's so rich in it, in history, in Scottish history, in American history, English. You name it, it's all there. She covers every base, and she gives you such detailed graphics of what's going on, and the imagery that's so vivid that, while you're reading this story, you're able to see exactly what she's telling you. And, that's the purpose of being a great writer. And that's what we all aspire to be. Such a great writer is Diana Gabaldon. But anyway, her style of writing presents the main character, just as I just told you, of the story, speaking throughout and giving the details until other voices join the dialogue. And it's just that simple. Honestly, I had to grow accustomed to this form of writing simply because it wasn't what I was used to seeing when reading. Yes, folks, I read books before I wrote them. But my reason for not favoring this format right away was simply due to the fact I needed to retrain my mind to accept the fact that she wasn't speaking in the format I was most acquainted with or comfortable with as the reader. But, and I have to be honest, I read a ton of books before I even got to the Outlander series. And most of the books I read, which were, they were mostly romances, but I've read all types of genres growing up. And Stephen King was another one of my favorite sci-fi writers, and he still is. But his books were not written in the first person voice. So, like I said, Diana Gabaldon's books were like the first books that I really read that was in that format. But, in no way did this style of writing take away from the story. And, and that's the good thing about it. It just added more depth to the story, to have it narrated for you as if you were watching a movie or something like that. It just made it more exciting, that more intense. However, now coming from a different perspective as a writer, once I knew better, I did better. And it's the sole purpose for why I am presenting this formula to you, the audience. Now, let's move on to the next demonstration, shall we? Example number 2, second person. Now, that uses the pronouns you, your, and yours. We refer to this form when we are addressing one or more than one person and directed toward the reader. We all learned this in elementary school, right? Okay. Well, so there is nothing hard about this process. You only need to know when to apply them in a sentence. It's the best way to signify who is speaking and to whom. The most common POV is third person, traditionally used widely when writing narrative fiction. As an author, I typically use this format. If you require an example, he, she, or it refers to a person, place, or thing. Now, this POV is gender specific. I almost got my tongue twisted there. It's either feminine, masculine, or neuter, which points to the word it, which could fall under whichever category, but we're going to place it under the neuter category, which is it. What you don't want to ever do is jump from one POV to another. Well, okay, I'm going to say point of view because that's what POV stands for. So it's just an acronym, but I wanted you to know what that stood for if you missed it at the beginning when I told you. But anyway, this is not only confusing, but it is also grammatically incorrect. We all learned about subject-verb agreement in English 101, and I remember in elementary school, going all the way back to that time, yes, I am, we used workbooks as a learning and study guide that were filled with writing exercises. Now, there were many examples of the right and wrong usages, so this is how and where I learned to diagram sentences and build sentence structure as well subject-verb agreement. Also, it helped to choose the sentences. We had to choose the sentences, or helped us to choose the sentences that were incorrect and fix the issues. You know, I always enjoyed English in school, and one of my better subjects, by the way, who knew? Many years later, I would be a writer, and glad I paid attention in class as well as excelled in language arts. Now, just to simplify things more clearly, I'd like to share the definitions of what each example meant. First person indicates the speaker. A second person indicates the addressee. And the third person indicates someone other than the speaker and the addressee. Now, I hope that this has cleared up any confusion over POV and narratives as it applies to writing. And I hope that I haven't insulted anyone's intelligence by giving out information that you may already know. You know, my goal was to offer tips to those who might be embarking on their first writing journey and unclear on which direction they should take. You know, what I like to do, what I love to do is talk about writing and talk about books. And maybe one Saturday, I may give a more detailed description of everything as far as it relates to writing. But my goal today, as I said, is just to give these little tidbits to help aid you along the way. Most of us have already graduated past this stage of writing because as I said before, we've all studied English language in school, or language arts, should I say, in school. And, you know, that's one of the things we learned in grammar school, were how to construct sentences and using the right subject-verb agreement to make the sentences make sense. So, you know, this applies to writing. When you're writing stories, you know, sometimes you can have just a little bit more wiggle room as a writer as far as using, I'm doing air quotes here, incorrect grammar. We can get away with that in writing as it relates to the story or whoever's speaking based on, you know, if they use slang or if they use proper English, whatever the case may be. You will know when to put that in, and you will know when to use the correct sentence structure. But, you know, I just wanted to just make it clear for those who may be listening, or for those who may listen later, or for those who may read my blog at some point in time. This is directed at those persons who are just starting out as a writer, and, you know, they may have the idea of how they want the story to flow in their heads, but they just need someone to give them a template on how to lay it out on paper. So this is where I come in. I just want to give you something to aid you along the way, something that you can refer back to if need be. But, you know, I'm not the only one that has something to say about this, because nowadays you can Google just about anything. And this is something else that you can Google, and you can get a more in-depth description or explanation on how to do it. Now, I was trying not to confuse those who may not have it quite down yet, because sometimes it is confusing when you're talking about first, second, and third voices as it relates to writing. How we speak on a daily basis has nothing to do with how we write, because that's something that's totally different. And we have to get that into our minds. We may use slang without even thinking about it. We may use improper subject-verb agreement when we're just having day-to-day languages with people that we work with, family members or whatever, especially when you're at home, because your manner of speech is more relaxed. And so you tend not to speak properly or pronounce your words completely. We do use slang. I know I use it quite a bit because, that's family. I don't have to be proper with them. I'm just going to be who I am. And we all have that relaxed nature. But the thing of it is that, when it comes down to creating stories and writing stories, unless the character calls for them to use slang or whatever, we want to make sure that the sentences are diagrammed properly, that they make sense, and that we're writing, in the right forms, and that we're not getting it confused and jumping from one to the other. I think I pointed that out. You need to stay consistent. And so that's why you can use what I've just told you, as a guide, or either you can go to Google and just type it in, how to write first, second, or third, and then they give examples of all of this, of everything I just told you, pretty much. I just simplified it, but more than likely they have it more detailed out there, just in case you want to read more than one person's opinion on how to do this, is out there, if you care to go out there and search for it. But again, I just wanted to share with you what I knew, and for you to to be able to refer back to it whenever you need to use it. That's the purpose of me doing this show. I love doing this show, and I can't say that enough. I'm so grateful. I feel so blessed to be able to do a weekly radio blog. And there's quite a bit of work that goes into doing it, but I don't mind that so much, because my satisfaction comes from being able to speak to the public, being able to do this show, and to help in any way that I can, maybe a little bit, maybe a lot, but as long as I'm helping, that's the purpose. So I just love doing it. I know I've said that word so many times today, but I have other words of expressing how I feel, but I think love covers it all, because genuinely that is what I feel about writing, in general. I love writing. I love creating these worlds on paper, almost as much as I love reading. And I've been doing that quite a bit as well, but now I have to get back to the writing, because my second book, I have to get that into publication. So now I'm working on the editing for that, so I can get that in the works, so it can be out hopefully by Christmas. Just as my first book, If Tomorrow Comes, Requiem, came out. It came out like maybe the first week in December, maybe the second week. It was a little bit before my birthday that it came out. So that was like a birthday present for me. And so I would love for the second book. I don't think it will be out any sooner than that one, but hopefully around the same time, if I can get everything done and get it into the publisher here in maybe a couple of weeks or so, maybe the next month or so. But so now I have to get back to the writing part of the business. And, I've got so many things going on right now, so many pokers in the fire, but they're all smoking hot. They're all in there and just waiting for me to pull one out and place it on the agenda. So right now I'm trying to focus on getting back on my writing schedule. But I'm still going to be doing this show every Saturday. That's a part of my writing schedule, because I write my script every Saturday for the blog. And as I told you once before, once I've done that, and after I've done the show and the episodes have been uploaded, then I upload these blogs, these written blogs, to my Blogger account. So the hard copy is there. If you ever want to read it, is there along with all the other ones that I've done. So every show that I do every week, I always upload the written transcripts to my Blogger account. And also, if you will, I have a page on Amazon. And right now I have a sweepstakes going on. The books are free. I'm giving away books. And all you have to do is follow me on Amazon and to win a chance at getting a free ebook. So I hope that you'll do that. And not only that, but you'll look at my page and look at the things that are on there, get to know a little bit more about me. You can also do that on my website on Wix. It's a little bit more in depth, and it also lists my books. It lists my biography and things of that nature. So, I would love for you to get to know me, of course, as a writer, my work, but also as a person. So if you'll just check those things out and leave me a message or a comment, I would love that. You can shoot me an email if you want to. You can also like me on Spreaker, like me on Facebook, follow me on Facebook or either Twitter. You can check out my Pinterest account if you want to. I have so many different pages out there, interesting pages, I might add. If you want to see what I'm up to, if you want to see what my likes are, that's a good way to find out about me. But most certainly, if you'll just check out my webpage, I think you'll like that. I think you'll enjoy the information that's out there, as well as you scroll through the website, you get to see different little venues and different little aspects of who I am as a person. But I just want to say that I have enjoyed doing this show today, and I know that it's short and sweet, but my goal for 2017 is to keep these shows short and sweet, to keep them under 30 minutes, and I think I've pretty much done that when I first started until now, presently. So because I don't want to hold you for too long, because I know, just as I do, you have things to do on a Saturday, and sitting for a long time listening to someone talk is not one of them. So that is my goal for just making the show 30 minutes or less. I know I sound like a piece of commercial, but I can't help it, because that's what I want to do. But of course, tomorrow is worship day. And if you don't have a church home, I just want to say before I forget, because this made me remember that we had 2 young people to join our church last Sunday, and I was just so excited about that. And I hope that they will benefit. I know that they will benefit from being members of our church, and we just want to take them in and just make them feel most welcome, and now that they're in the family of believers, we want to make sure that they get everything that they need, spiritually, and whatever their personal needs may be as well. That's what we're there for. We're a church family, so that's what we're there for. But if you don't have a church home, go visit someone's church. Maybe go to a neighborhood church, or maybe with a next door neighbor. If they go to worship on Sunday, go with them. Go with a family member, or take a family member with you to worship, because that's one of the best gifts you can give someone, is to take them to church and let them hear the word, or share it with them, because that's what we're supposed to do as believers. We're not only supposed to be hearers of the word, but also doers of the word. And that's what we need to do, to inspire, uplift, and, just promote Christ Jesus in everything that we do. But, as always, tell someone that you love them, because tomorrow's not promised. I love you. I hope you love me. And I just want to say, have a good weekend, and God bless.